Who is Israel arming? Well, let's check this out. Look at this, guys. Avigdor Lieberman is a veteran Israeli politician, a bulldozer type. Currently in the opposition, he has managed to trouble Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government with a publication. There's plenty of criticism of the war in the Gaza Strip in Israel. What Lieberman said yesterday in an interview with Channel 12 television is explosive. Suddenly, the state of Israel is distributing weapons to all kinds of gangs. They receive weapons from the state of Israel. This is complete madness. Just as Netanyahu tried to build a counterweight to the Palestinian Authority with Hamas, he is now building militias that identify with the Islamic State. Because even if Hamas is dismantled, the lunatics who are running Israel, the evil people who are running Israel, they always need a pretext to mow the lawn of Gaza, as they like to say. Lieberman made a serious accusation. But what happened next was also rather unusual. Benjamin Netanyahu acted as if what Lieberman had said was completely normal. This is what Netanyahu said as a response to Lieberman. He said, what has he already published? The security agencies have commissioned clans in Gaza to oppose Hamas. So Netanyahu is saying that they're arming clans. Okay, that might be true. Maybe Netanyahu is arming the clans. And I hope that he is just arming Bedouins and not criminals. But look at what it says here. Netanyahu says Israel fighting Hamas in various ways amid claims it armed ISIS-affiliated Gaza militia. Israeli lawmaker Avigdor Lieberman alleged Netanyahu is now supporting a new military to counter Hamas, a new militia. Sources told Haaretz last week that an armed group tied to Yasser Abu Shahab has recently begun operating in southern Gaza. Israel is providing weapons to a jihadist group in the Gaza Strip affiliated with ISIS, opposition lawmaker and former defense minister Avigdor Lieberman said Thursday. Responding to the allegations, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office said that Israel is working to defeat Hamas in various ways on the recommendation of all heads of the security establishment. In an interview with Kan Beit Public Radio, Lieberman said that similar to how Netanyahu propped up Hamas as a counterweight to the PA, he is now helping establish a new armed force as a counterweight to Hamas. So they're backing more criminals, is what they're doing. And see, how can you fix Gaza? By arming more criminals. Unless, of course, you want to keep the area destabilized, so that you always have a reason to go to war, so that your military-industrial complex can always make money. Last week, two sources told Haaretz that a new militia had recently begun operating in the southern Gaza Strip, saying it is linked to a man identifying himself as Yasser Abu Shahab. Videos circulating on social media in recent days appear to support the claim, showing armed Palestinians in Gaza wearing standard military gear, including vests, helmets, and insignia such as the Palestinian flag and a patch labeled Anti-Terror Service in both English and Arabic. Abu Shahab, a member of a large Bedouin family in the southern Gaza city of Rafah, is known as a powerful and well-connected figure in the Gaza Strip. According to sources who spoke with Haaretz, he previously served prison sentences in Hamas-run jails for criminal offenses. At the end of last year, amid a surge in looting of humanitarian aid in southern Gaza, Abu Shahab and his men were widely accused of being behind the theft. Wait a second. So Israel has been accusing Hamas of stealing the food, but it looks like the group that Israel is backing has been stealing food. So Israel is saying, oh, that's Hamas doing it, but it looks like it's your guys who have been stealing the food. At the end of last year, amid a surge in looting of humanitarian aid in southern Gaza, Abu Shahab and his men were widely accused of being behind the theft. In a November 2024 phone interview with the Washington Post, Abu Shahab did not fully deny the allegations, saying that his group avoided taking food, tents, or supplies intended for children. The Hamasha clan are in essence, this is what he said. The lawmaker said this, He said, the Hamasha clan are in essence lawless criminals who in recent years wanted to give themselves an ideological angle or spin, so they became Salafi, jihadists, and began identifying with ISIS. Israel is providing this clan with light weapons and assault rifles, Lieberman alleged, adding that, quote, ultimately, these weapons will be turned against us. think the guy makes a solid point. If Israel is arming criminals who are identifying themselves with ISIS, that means Israel's backing terrorists. More terrorists. They were backing... Okay, let's go into history a little bit here. Israel backed the Kataib, who were a radical, nationalistic, paramilitary organization that had this whole aspiration of making Lebanon into a purely Phoenician country. And so they wanted to purge out the foreigners and they wanted to purge out the Palestinians who were living in Lebanon. So Israel backed those people. Israel backed the Kataib to slaughter the Palestinians because the Palestinians were, for the most part, supporting the PLO. And why did Israel consider the PLO to be a threat? The reason why Israel considered the PLO to be a threat was the PLO was intelligent enough to be a secular nationalist organization. The PLO was not an Islamist organization. It was never an Islamist organization, even though it used Islamic rhetoric. Really, it was not an Islamist organization. It was a secular nationalist organization. They were the wealthiest terrorist organization at one point in time. But because they were secular, and because they were intelligent enough to actually have dialogue with Western governments, Israel saw that as a threat because they knew that the PLO could actually present an argument for an independent Palestinian state. So what did Israel do? Israel backed the Kataib to butcher the Palestinians. And this is where you have the Sabra Shatila massacre of 1982. There were other massacres that happened that were done by the Kataib. You had the Tel al-Zatar massacre. You also had the Quarantina massacre that took place as well. So the Israelis wanted that massacre to happen because they wanted to destroy anything to do with the PLO. They wanted to destroy any sort of possibility for a Palestinian state. PLO still carried on, and there was Hamas. Israel then began to back Hamas because they knew that if the PLO dominated, that the PLO could present a solid argument or could present a better argument through finesse for an independent Palestinian state. So Israel backs Hamas. Why? Because by backing Hamas, they could make the Palestinian cause into an Islamist cause and therefore undermine and discredit the entire Palestinian cause. They could then say that the Palestinian cause is filled with terrorists, that the Palestinian cause is dominated by Hamas, and therefore it is a terrorist cause. So Israel backed Hamas to destroy the PLO. Eventually, Hamas did defeat the PLO, and eventually Hamas took over Gaza. The Israeli government began to facilitate the funding of Hamas through Qatar. Qatar was sending in billions of dollars to fund Hamas. Israel allowed that funding to take place and facilitated that funding to take place. Why? Because Israel wanted to prop up Hamas so that Israel can always have a reason to be at war. This is the whole idea. And that was it. So it looks like, now, if what this guy is saying is true, it looks like what Israel is doing is backing up another group of thugs to prop them up against Hamas. And then if these guys defeat Hamas with Israel's help, Israel can then say, oh my God, look at these thugs, they're on our border. And then people are going to figure out, well, Israel was backing up these thugs in the past. And Israel is the one that propped up these thugs in the first place. It's a big clusterfuck, and Israel just thrives off of perpetual warfare.